I am 28 and 7 months pregnant with twins, boy and a girl. Ryan and I have been together for almost 3 years. We found out about the pregnancy about 2 months after the engagement. And yeah, it wasn't planned, but we were both excited. Or at least I thought we were both excited. Okay, so backing up a little because you need to understand how we got here. Ryan is 31, and we met through his cousin Tracy, who I'd been friends with since we worked together a few years back. Tracy was always talking about how her cousin was such a good guy, how he'd been through some stuff with his ex, but was ready to settle down with the right person. I wasn't really looking for anything serious at first, but Tracy kept pushing, and eventually I agreed to meet him at this barbecue her parents were throwing. And honestly, he was great, like genuinely great, attentive, funny, remembered little things I said weeks later, always planning these thoughtful dates. His whole family welcomed me in immediately. His mom, Stella, would text me recipes. His dad, Richard, would ask my opinion on things like I actually mattered. His sister Olivia was a little colder, but Tracy told me that is just how she is with everyone. So I didn't take it personally. The ex-girlfriend thing came up pretty early. Her name is Camilla, and they were together for like 6 years before they broke up. Ryan told me it was mostly about wanting different things, that she had some health issues that made it impossible for her to have kids, and she'd become really focused on that, and it put too much pressure on the relationship. He said it was sad, but they ended on okay terms. He said they still talked sometimes because their families were close, but that it was nothing needed to worry about. I believed him because why wouldn't he die? I had no reason not to. Fast forward to finding out I was pregnant. Ryan cried actual tears when I showed him the test. His mom threw us this huge announcement party. Everyone was so happy. When we found out it was twins at the 12-week scan, Ryan was practically bouncing off the walls. Started talking about converting the spare room into a nursery, researching strollers, the whole thing. But then things started getting weird around month 4 or 5. It was small stuff at first. Ryan would be on his phone a lot, and when I walk into the room, he flip it over or put it away. He started having more work stuff come up on weekends. His family, who had been so involved in the beginning, started acting different around me, like they'd be in the middle of a conversation when I walked in and they'd all go quiet. Stella stopped texting me as much. Richard wouldn't quite meet my eyes. I kept telling myself I was being paranoid. Pregnancy hormones, you know? Everyone says you get weird and emotional and overthink everything. But then about a month ago, I overheard something that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. We were at Ryan's parents' house for Sunday dinner, and I'd gone upstairs to use the bathroom because the one downstairs was occupied. I was coming back down the stairs when I heard Ryan and his dad in the kitchen. Richard said something like, well, after the babies come, we can move forward with everything. And Ryan said, yeah, it is almost time. Camilla's been waiting so long and she deserves this. I froze on that staircase. They must have heard me or something, because they both went quiet. And when I came around the corner, they were just standing there looking at me with these weird expressions. Richard goes, oh, hey, sweetie, we were just talking about work stuff. And Ryan jumps in with, yeah, Dad's thinking about some changes at the business and it is boring stuff. Don't worry about it. I just nodded and went back to the living room, but my mind was racing. Camilla's been waiting so long and she deserves this. What the hell does that mean? What does his ex-girlfriend have to do with anything after the babies come? I tried to bring it up with Ryan that night. I asked him straight up what he and his dad were talking about. What did Camilla have to do with anything? Why did he mention her name? And this is where it gets really messed up. He didn't even get defensive at first. He just got this look on his face like he was calculating something. Then he said I must have misheard, that he never mentioned Camilla, that they were talking about a camera, like a security camera system Richard was thinking about installing. He said I'd been mishearing and misremembering things a lot lately, and maybe I should talk to my doctor about it. Now, I need you all to understand something about me. I don't mishear things, I don't imagine conversations. I know what I heard, and the fact that he immediately tried to make me feel like I was losing it instead of just explaining what they were actually talking about, that told me everything I needed to know. But I didn't push it because I wanted to see what else I could figure out first. Over the next few weeks, I started paying closer attention, and the more I paid attention, the more things didn't add up, like how his sister Olivia would watch me with this weird look whenever I talked about the nursery or baby names, like she knew something I didn't, but like she was waiting for something. Or how Tracy, my supposed friend who introduced us, suddenly got too busy to hang out every time I tried to make plans. This girl who used to text me constantly was suddenly taking days to respond with the short little messages. Or how Stella kept asking me weird questions about my family situation. My parents are both gone. Dad passed when I was 19, and Mom 3 years later. I have a half-sister Rita, but we not close. Haven't talked in probably 2 years. Stella knew all this, but she kept bringing it up. She'd say things like, it must be so hard not having your mother around during pregnancy, or do you ever think about reaching out to Rita? And once she said something about how it is so sad that these babies won't really have grandparents on your side. At the time, I thought she was just being insensitive in that oblivious way some people are now. I think she was building a case, like documenting that I am isolated, that I don't have family support. But the thing that really made me start losing sleep happened about 2 weeks ago. Ryan had been in the shower and his phone buzzed on the nightstand. I wasn't going to look. I really wasn't, but it was face up and the notification just showed part of a message. It said, "Can wait for our life to finally start?" And the contact name was just a single letter, C. And I know that could be anyone. But combined with everything else, combined with hearing him say Camilla's name when he thought I wasn't listening, combined with his whole family acting weird and him trying to make me think I am crazy, I still didn't confront him. I needed more. So I did something I am not proud of, but I don't regret it. Last week, Ryan said he was going to help his dad with some stuff at their house. I said, okay, have fun, but I didn't stay home. I waited about 20 minutes, and then I drove to his parents' neighborhood, parked a few streets over, and walked to where I could see their driveway from behind some trees in a neighbor's yard. Ryan's car was there. His parents' cars were there. And there was a third car that I recognized because I'd seen it in pictures. It was Camilla's car. She was there at his parents' house. While I sat at home 7 months pregnant with his children thinking he was just hanging out with his dad, I didn't go confront them. I wanted to. God, I wanted to storm in there and demand answers, but something told me I needed to know more before I showed my hand. So I went home and I cried, and I waited for him to come back. When he got home, I asked how things went with his dad. He said, fine, just boring work stuff. I asked if anyone else was there. He said no, just him and his parents. Olivia stopped by for a bit. No mention of Camilla. He lied directly to my face while I am carrying his children. So that brings us to today. What happened today that has me sitting in this parking lot losing my damn mind? I had a doctor's appointment this morning for a regular checkup. Everything is fine with the babies. They regrowing well. I am healthy. All good on that front. But when I got home, I noticed Ryan's laptop was open on the kitchen table. His email was open, and there was a thread at the top from a family law firm. The subject line was, "Re-custody consultation. Next steps." The email was from some attorney, thanking Ryan for the consultation and outlining some initial thoughts about his situation. It talked about establishing primary custody, mentioned something about documenting concerning behaviors and mental health concerns, and said they could discuss more detailed strategy at the next meeting. There was an attachment, but I couldn't open it. And then I heard his car pull into the driveway, so I just closed everything and went to the bathroom and pretended I was just getting home from my appointment. Ryan came in and he was cheerful, asking about the babies. Asking if I'd eaten lunch, being all sweet and attentive like he hasn't been lying to my face for God knows how long, and I just stood there and smiled and said everything was fine while my entire world was crumbling. I need you all to understand what I think is happening here. I think Ryan has been planning to leave me after I give birth. I think he has been consulting lawyers about how to get custody of the twins. I think Camilla, the ex who can have kids, has been part of this plan. I think his whole family knows and has been helping him. I think they planning to take my babies. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to trust. Tracy was my friend and she set me up with him. His whole family has been in my life for 3 years. I don't have parents to call. My sister and I don't talk. I am 7 months pregnant and completely alone, and the man I was supposed to marry is plotting against me. I can go home right now. I can look at him and pretend everything is fine, but I also can let him know that I know, because if he realizes I am onto him, he might accelerate whatever he is planning. I just need someone to tell me I am not crazy, that what I am seeing is actually there, that I am not just being a paranoid pregnant woman, like he wants me to believe, and I need advice. Legal advice, practical advice, any advice. Because I have 2 babies inside me who are depending on me to protect them, and right now I feel like I am fighting a war I didn't even know I was in until I was already losing. I will update soon. I just need to be careful about when and how I access this account because I don't know if Ryan is monitoring my phone or computer edit. Some of you are asking why I don't just confront him directly. Right now, he doesn't know that I know. He thinks his little "you must have misheard gaslighting" is working. If I confront him, he'll deny everything. Probably try harder to make me seem crazy, and worst of all, he'll know to hide things better. I need to understand what I am actually dealing with before I show my hand. I am not stupid. I know I need help. I just need to figure out what kind of help and from who. Some of you mentioned getting my own lawyer, and I think that has to be the first step. But I am 7 months pregnant. I don't have family support, and I don't have a lot of money saved separately from our joint accounts. This isn't as simple as just leave him. I have to be strategic. First update, first things first. I did talk to a lawyer. Her name is not important, but she does family law, and she gave me a free 30-minute consultation over the phone while I was parked outside a grocery store, because that is my life now, making secret phone calls from parking lots like I am in some kind of spy movie, except the stakes are my actual children. The lawyer basically confirmed what a lot of you said in the comments. She told me that right now, before the babies are born, I have all the rights. They reinside my body, but once they reborn, everything changes. And if Ryan has been working with attorneys to build some kind of case against me, then I need to be prepared. She asked me a bunch of questions about our living situation, whose name is on the lease, how our finances are set up, whether I have any history of mental health issues that could be used against me. And here is where I need to tell you something I didn't mention in my first post because I was embarrassed. About 2 years ago, before I got pregnant, I went through a really rough patch. I was dealing with some depression after my mom's death anniversary hit me hard, and I saw a therapist for a few months. Ryan knew about this. He was supportive at the time, encouraged me to go, said he was proud of me for taking care of myself. But now I am thinking about how he knows this and how that email from the lawyer mentioned mental health concerns and how he keeps trying to make me think I am mishearing things and forgetting things. And I am wondering if he is planning to use my therapy against me, twisted into something it wasn't he. The lawyer said that going to therapy doesn't make someone an unfit parent, that lots of people get help for depression, and it shouldn't be used against them. But she also said that if Ryan has been documenting instances of me being confused or forgetful or emotional, and if he has his whole family ready to back up whatever story he is telling, it could be a problem. She told me I need to start keeping my own records, dates, times, what was said, who was there. She said I should try to get my own copies of any important documents, and she said I should think about whether I have anywhere else I could go if things escalate. That last part made me want to cry because where would I go? My parents are dead. My sister Rita hasn't spoken to me in 2 years. I have friends, but nobody close enough that I could show up pregnant with twins and say, hey, can I crash here while I figure out if my fiancé is trying to steal my babies? So Ryan had been acting extra sweet since the day I found the lawyer email, like suspiciously sweet. Bringing me breakfast in bed, rubbing my feet without me asking, talking about the babies constantly, and how excited he was, and I just kept smiling and nodding while inside I was screaming because I knew it was all fake. But then his mom Stella called and invited us over for dinner. Just a casual family thing, she said, and Ryan was like, we should go. It'll be nice. You've been cooped up in the house too, I didn't want to go. But I also thought maybe if I was there, around his family, I might be able to figure out more about what is really going on. So I said, sure, let's go. We got to his parents' house around 6. Stella hugged me at the door and asked how I was feeling, and I said fine. And she gave me this look, like she was studying me, like she was assessing something, but whatever. I smiled and walked past her into the living room where Richard was sitting. Richard stood up to greet us, and he was being all friendly, but there was something off about the energy in the room. Olivia was there too, sitting on the couch scrolling her phone, and she barely looked up when I came in. We sat down and Stella brought out some appetizers and everyone was making small talk about the weather and some show Richard was watching, and I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop because I knew something was coming. And then, about 20 minutes in, Stella starts asking me these questions again. She wanted to know how I was sleeping. Was I getting enough rest? Had I been feeling anxious at all? Did I ever feel overwhelmed thinking about having twins? Was my doctor happy with how things were going? And the way she was asking was like a concerned future grandmother. It was like a checklist, like she was trying to get specific answers to specific questions. I played along at first. Said I was sleeping okay, considering I have 2 humans doing gymnastics inside me at all hours. Said, yeah, of course I get anxious sometimes, duns. Everyone before they become a parent. Said my doctor was happy with everything. But then she pushed it. She said something like, it is totally normal to feel like you can't handle things sometimes, and there is no shame in admitting if you need help. And she is just worried because I seem tired lately, and maybe I should talk to someone about how I am feeling. And that is when I lost it a little bit. I put down the cracker I was holding and I looked directly at her and I said, Stella, what exactly are you trying to ask me? Because it feels like you are fishing for something specific, and I'd rather you just come out and say it. Stella tried to recover. She said, oh honey, no, I am just worried about you. Pregnancy is hard and I want to make sure you are okay. I didn't mean anything by it, but I wasn't done. I said you've been asking me questions like this for weeks. About my family, about whether I am sleeping, about whether I feel overwhelmed, and honestly, it is starting to feel less like concern and more like something else. Ryan jumped in then. He put his hand on my arm and said, babe, come on. My mom is just trying to help you are being a little paranoid. Dawn, you think? Paranoid, he said. I was being paranoid. In front of his whole family, while I am sitting there pregnant with his children questioning why his mother keeps interrogating me about my mental state, I shook his hand off my arm and I stood up. I said, I am not being paranoid. I am asking a direct question. And nobody in this room seems to want to give me a direct answer. And then Olivia, who had barely said 10 words to me all night, finally looked up from her phone. She goes, maybe we should just tell her. This is getting ridiculous. Ryan's head whipped around to look at her. He said, Olivia, Dawn, tell me what? I said. And then Richard spoke up. He said, let's all just calm down. This is how we wanted this conversation to go. Isn't how you wanted it to go, I said. So there is a conversation you've all been planning to have with me. Ryan stood up too now. He was trying to guide me toward the door saying, I think we should go home and talk about this privately. You are getting upset and that is not good for the babies. I yanked my arm away from him. I said, I am not going anywhere until someone tells me what the hell is going on. Why was Camilla at this house last week when you told me you were alone with your dad? What does she have to do with anything? And why do you have emails from a custody lawyer on your laptop? Ryan's face did this thing where I could see him processing that I knew way more than he thought I did. He opened his mouth and closed it again. Stella stood up and started saying something about how there has been a misunderstanding and we all need to sit down and discuss this calmly. But I wasn't interested in calm. I was 7 months pregnant, and I had just confirmed in front of his whole family that my fiancé had lied to me about his ex being at this house and that he was talking to custody lawyers behind my back. I looked at Ryan and I said, I want you to explain right now, all of it. No more lies. I know Camilla was here, I know about the lawyer, I know something is going on, and I deserve to know what it is. And here is where things got really messed up. Ryan took a deep breath, and he said, okay, fine, you want to know? I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Yes, Camilla has been coming around. Yes, we've been talking, because I've been worried about you, about us, about whether you can handle this. I asked him what that was supposed to mean. He said ever since you got pregnant, you've been different. You are suspicious all the time. You are constantly questioning everything I do. You think everyone is out to get you, and he has talked to Camilla about it because she knows him, she knows his family, and she has been helping him figure out what to do. I literally could not believe what I was hearing.